We're live here in Los Angeles with the sage of South Central at the inaugural Blexit event, Larry Elder.
LA is my hometown.
Larry, you're about to give a fiery speech to hundreds of Americans at the inaugural Blexit event. But for Black America, Democrats enslaved us, they enlisted us into a war to fight to keep us enslaved, and then they spent the next 100 years killing us, raping our women, and lynching us. Is a Black American exit away from the Democrat Party an idea whose time has come?
I would say it's an idea whose time is way, way, way overdue. Black people have voted for the Democratic Party in large numbers for a very long period of time. And what's happened? What's happened is many of the left-wing policies that have been promoted with the best of intentions, most notably the Lyndon Johnson so-called war on poverty, which was launched in 1965. At the time, 25% of black kids were born without fathers. Fast forward, $20 trillion has been spent on this so-called war against poverty since 65, and now 73% of black kids are born outside of wedlock. And I didn't say it, Obama said, a kid raised without a father is 5 times more likely to be poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to end up in jail. That is a far bigger problem than the alleged racism that the left claims is institutionally still going on in this country. I argue this. Pick up a magic wand, wave it over the hearts of all of whites in America, and remove every smidgen of racism from their hearts. You're still going to have a problem of a 50% dropout rate in the inner city. Kids who do graduate often cannot read, write, and compute at grade level. 25% of young black men have criminal records. And these problems are not going to go away just because white people have stopped being racist. Racism will always be with us as long as human beings are with us. You have 300 million Americans, some of them are going to be bigoted. Hell, 7% of Americans believe that brown milk, that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. I'm not making this up. They're idiots in this country. Right. 8% believe Elvis is still alive, and about half that number believe if you send him a letter, he will get it. So if the idea is to make sure that there are no white people who are racist, you're going to forever be angry. But if the idea is to maximize your potential, what we ought to be telling young blacks is following. You need to do 3 things in order to get to the middle class. Yeah. Finish high school. Do not have a kid before you're 20 years old. Get married before you have that kid. If you follow that formula, you will not be poor. If you don't follow that formula, there's a good chance that you will be poor. And don't just go by me. There's a think tank on the left called the Brookings Institution, think tank on the right called the Heritage Foundation. They all say the same thing. They call it the millennial sequence for success. Graduate from high school, don't have a kid before you're 20, get married first, you will not be poor. But that's not what our so-called civil rights leaders are telling us. They're telling us that you are a victim. The man's holding you back. You're being oppressed. You're being suppressed. And it's a lie.
There are cultural issues, many of them you've just highlighted, but then there are also political solutions. President Trump has been a president that has lifted Black Americans, white women, largely the voting blocs who did not support him, and yet the Hispanic unemployment and Black unemployment has plummeted to historic lows. Does the president get enough credit for all of the economic gains that he's brought to those communities? And if not, why not?
Well, no, he's not, because the media does not like Donald Trump. Yeah. The media does not like Republicans. The media especially does not like Black Republicans. And so Donald Trump, by definition, is not going to get the kind of credit he deserves. But people in the streets know what's going on. Yeah. There was a recent poll by the NAACP. 21% of blacks supported Donald Trump. That is 3 times more than the support he got before. And there's another poll that shows the number even higher. So black people know what's going on the ground. Also, Donald Trump wants to do something about illegal immigration. And an economist from Harvard named George Borja says there's no question that illegal immigration, particularly unskilled illegals, take away jobs and put downward pressure on the wages of people who are living in the inner city, many of whom are black and brown, who also don't have very many skills. And so Donald Trump is doing something about that. Donald Trump also wants to do something about underperforming bad schools. I went to Crenshaw High School. If you saw the movie Boys in the Hood, that's where I went. And right now, 3% of kids can do math at grade level. Now, if you live across the street from that school, you are mandated to send your kid there. Donald Trump wants to give that parent a voucher so that parent can say, I want to send my kid somewhere else. So Donald Trump wants to do something about making sure that inner city parents get a better education for their kids. He wants to do something about the threat for illegal immigration. And as you pointed out, because of his economic policies, the economy is rocking and rolling, and black unemployment is the lowest it's ever been since they've been keeping records. If this is racism, he needs to go back to racism school.
Blexit is obviously a new movement that wants to educate people against all of the destructive policies that you just talked about. What do you think success looks like for this movement? There have obviously been civil rights movements before, and there is obviously a media that won't pay attention to these people, and a black academic establishment that will call them names, call them sellouts. How do you get through and break through all of the noise to bring success for this movement?
I think ultimately people care about the truth. Malcolm X once said, I'm for the truth no matter who's telling it. And so I think sooner or later people recognize the facts on the ground. The welfare state has undermined the black family. Things like race-based preferences has increased dropouts in colleges. They've not increased graduation rates. They've made things worse. Some of these zoning ordinances that increase the cost of building a house has hurt poor people. So I think we have to tell people the facts. If you give people information, they will change their point of view. Once a mind once expanded, never returns to its original size. Give people information, they will rethink their assumptions.